Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Finally, senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Remember, no matter who you are valid. Thumbs up for that. It is indeed a brand new day. It is late. Well, 2:30 in the afternoon. It is rainy, gray, chill, damp. I mean, the dampness makes sense, doesn't it? And I still not sleeping well. Oh, joy on that. But at least I'm alive. And if you're watching this, thank you for being alive. Definitely a good thing. Thumbs up for that. Now, I have done a little bit, like I said, I might have said, I went out for walkies and then came back, and I had issues again staying awake because I got to stop eating baked goods again. I'd ate a box of 6 donuts again, and when I eat gluten products, I fall into a gluten coma. And I was watching and listening to videos until I was only listening to videos, and then I was asleep in my chair, and then woke up and have been fighting to be awake, and now I'm doing this. Oh, I really have got to stop eating gluten products. Number one, they cost money. Number two, it's gluten, and I'm gluten intolerant. I mean, anything with wheat. Good golly, Miss Molly. So it's been that kind of day. Now, there are a couple things that I have written down on this little sheet pad of whatever these are, Post-its. So I wanted to talk about these things, which is why I wrote them down. One of them is entirely silly. I can't remember how I clicked on this one video that was an animation, but I'm glad I did, because it was absolutely insane. I think it was a reacting to, or it was either just the original video or a reaction to, at which point I stopped like a quarter of the way through the reaction and went to the full video, and then just binged not every video there, but every one of this particular series. Dungeon Soup with Chaotic Good Barbarian. Dungeon Soup is the channel. They do a lot of animation. They have a couple different series. I don't really enjoy anything but their Chaotic Good Barbarian stuff. But if you check out the channel, check out all the other things. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're not my kind of thing. But the Chaotic Good Barbarian is just that. Chaotic good. And past that, you get to see why the character is doing this, because they have a little checklist, bingo thing. You know, as he does these, he marks them off on his little checklist. And one of them was reach 20th level. Even in modern gaming terms, when you're a 20th level character, the world does revolve around you. And if you go to OSR terms, someone who's 20th level in the original sort of rules from 1974 and all that, you could kill any number of gods. The world rotates around you. And the Chaotic Good Barbarian has reached the point where they can basically do whatever they want because they've reached 20th level. And now there's basically nothing that can stop them. But they're still good. Chaotic good, but good. And a lot of the weird stuff that goes on, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's just, again, chaotic good. In some cases, quite horrifying chaotic good. I mean, I laughed at just about the ending of each one of them because they were so horrific, just absolutely nightmarish what's going on, and laughing in absolute horrified shock and absolute being amused. I won't spoil why this happens, but one of the things that goes on, the Barbarian has stopped this one hag from pushing a child into a potion to create her potion of immortality. Well, even though the child is saved, the Barbarian has her finish the potion and drink it. And the end, again, I'm going to stop there, is she's face down in the boiling stuff that when she's up, all the skin on her face has been boiled off. And the Barbarian goes, and a squeeze of lemon, squeezes the lemon, citric acid sprays onto the raw meat of her boiled face, and she screams, and then just, cut. And I laughed like an idiot because of that. So look up Dungeon Soup. Again, all the stuff is good, but I, with my sense of humor, only really enjoy the chaotic good Barbarian. So check it out. Definitely a thumbs up. Let's see, what else do I have on my list? Oh, this is something that causes me actual anxiety of the kind I haven't had for a long time. Way back, when I was trying to remember stuff like from my youth, and I couldn't, I would get horrific anxiety. And so to just avoid the anxiety, I avoided the topics. Through time, I've been able to go through and reach and touch these things so that it doesn't cause anxiety. This does. It didn't happen to me, but this entire situation does. The guy that passed on in 2021 was like 4 years older than me. But that's not important. He was really an enthusiast of the old, like, Ultima and wizardry games, such like that. And he made a whole bunch of fan games and was known as Dr. Dungeon. And there was the Ultazert series and such, where they were just amazing fan games. If you are in the fandom, anything about the older computer games, you know the name Dr. Dungeon if you know those, Ultima and all this. And I bought one of his games on Steam, Dr. Dungeon's Madman. He has an itch.io page, but the itch page is falling apart and barely functional because who maintains it? He died. And he was working on projects and talking with people online, and then people had questions because there were silence, and then find out silent because he died. One of the things that is so awful about this for me is because that is a huge amount of gaming history that is just vanishing. It is, if you are even halfway interested in gaming history, it is hard to find the stuff that he's done because the sites vanish. Because if you're not interested in gaming history, and very few people are, where's the incentive to keep these things up and going? And when I think about it, and when I try to find information, and I can't because he died, I just feel this incredible anxiety that I used to get. And it's not a good feeling. It's not fear of death. That's an entirely different anxiety that I have. But what can you do? So, some of the other things that I've gotten written down. This one, I watched the video this morning on the Kurzgesagt channel where they're talking about weed. And there was a lot of information about weed and talking about how new information's come out that's correcting things from the past that, we didn't know. And I have discovered that there are some combinations that I need to not do. Because remembering on this place here, as long as you don't bring anything onto the facility, if you use a weed product off the grounds and then come onto the grounds, you're fine. So I can go to the local THC weed place. I can grab a shot, which is 1 or sometimes 2 ounces, and then you just screw the top off, drink that, and then ditch the bottle. I put them into trash cans. Well, because I have to walk past a Walmart, a Fred Meyer's, a strip mall. There's a lot of garbage cans to get rid of stuff. So then take care of that. Now, I have noticed I do suffer a couple things that they have now discovered will happen. Like, you will get this numbness where you're bored, but bored and entertained at the same time. So what you're doing is not getting anything done, but you don't feel the incentive to stop doing what you're doing, which is nothing. And I have discovered that, where I will watch videos for hours and get nothing done. At the same time, I've also noticed that sometimes that doesn't happen. And I was trying to think, what would be the difference? How come there's sometimes I can sit here, do nothing, have couch lock, and then just fighting, staying awake, and other times I can get stuff done? Some of the shots will have like 100 milligrams THC and 50 milligrams of caffeine in them. Caffeine, when you have when you have any ADHD, when you have ADHD and you're taking caffeine, well, one of the reasons that things like Ritalin work is it's a stimulant. Caffeine, while not as strong, is still a stimulant. Your brain starts to function closer to normal. Not all the way there, because it's a weak stimulant, but it is a stimulant and your brain functions closer to normal, at which point, because my brain is functioning closer to normal, that shot is affecting my brain more like it normally would. So there's strong couch lock and that bored but entertained at the same time. So I gotta be careful. 2 reasons. Number 1, the first one I've been talking about, and number 2, a shot is at the very cheapest $10, and they're good for they're an ounce. They don't last, and $10 for a very short period of time is not very good on the bang for buck meter, I believe. But I just wanted to talk about that because of the video I watched, how I have felt that be true in me and the things that I'm doing to try and be careful and possibly avoid entirely. I have to use edibles of some kinds, or like the other fashion that I've got things, because my storage unit is close, I walk to my storage unit in the morning and the evening. Sometimes I can't make it out in the evening. And then I take a short walk and then back to the storage unit again and then come back here. Good exercise, cheaper. Thumbs up for that. Now, the other things that I wanted to talk about, this one, I've been spending a fair amount of time thinking about this, but not in a mechanical fashion, because my neurodiverse self doesn't like a lot of visceral things, unless I'm in a specific mood, but that's a very small period of time, in which case, you know, the rest of the time, like right now, I don't like thinking about things like that. That's why I'd like to actually, if I could be a cyborg, that would be awesome. You know, in my own head, I wouldn't have to deal with things that are icky, like eating, and of course the inevitable aftermath of that. If I could never eat again, I'd be happy. But I mean, I need nourishment and all that. I don't mean in any horrific fashion. But I say all this because I've been thinking a lot how I've mentioned that in my solo RPG setting, with all the various species, intelligent species in the world that I write about, the Goya, which are basically human beings, the Dwaylen, which are basically elves, which is the original common ancestor that all the other species descended from and speciated out from, the Hulat, who are actually three species, the Orkani, the Habani, and the Apani. And then there are the Elvandri / Tsandako, which are basically the dwarves of this place. And they all have their own individual hang-ups as individuals and as cultures. But they don't have ours, and they have some that we don't have. But there's still hang-ups on their side. They don't get hung up on matters of getting frisky, especially on the side of the Hulat, where they had to practice strict population control, but yet everyone is still basically a person, although they're different speciation outward, and people like to get frisky. So what do you do when you can't risk anyone becoming pregnant? Well, you take advantage of the fact that if you're an Orkani, the Habani or an Apani ain't going to get pregnant, or if you are an Orkani, you're not going to get pregnant if you go dallying about with one of the other of the two species. It's not frowned upon, this activity between the species. It's looked up upon, not looked up upon, but looked upon as a normal part of society. If you have the urge, you head out to one of the other species. And when they were contacted by the Dwaylen, which included the Goya, that just added a whole bunch of others to the possible pool of those to get frisky with, because again, not as many of the hang-ups that we have on our world, because they didn't evolve in the same sort of situation and societies and pressures. So the Goya and the Dwaylen and the Elvandri, also without their pressures, mingle amongst each other freely in this fashion. And when they added the Hulat, they went, oh look, we can add a whole bunch extra here, as well as the hulat, again saying, oh look, they're interesting as well. In terms of cultures and such, especially with immigration, people emigrate and immigrate to the other continents and enjoy the other cultures. If you were, say, a Goya, a human being, and you went and you emigrated to Carthage, if you wanted to, you could spend, well, if you wanted, you could spend the rest of your life, but most people wouldn't. You'd just spend as a job. But if you wanted, you could spend the rest of your life in bed. And you would have a line of the hulat outside waiting for their turn. You would never run out. And nobody, not the Goya, not the hulat, not the Duelan, not the Tandako, nobody would look down upon you for having chosen this as a way to support yourself. So thumbs up on that. Those are the kinds of things that I think about to try and figure out how an actual world would... I tried a dry hiccup there. To see how the world would actually function. So, thumbs up. And hey, if you could share the video, comment, subscribe, like. I did that all wrong. Like, comment, share, subscribe. There we go. And that would be awesome. Sharing the video with anybody you think would want to watch an old man like me talk about the getting frisky habits of fantasy races. Thumbs up for that. And if you're a Patreon patron, thumbs up and thank you. You're a beautiful and awesome person. Greatly appreciated. You bring me from a badly hurting monkey to just a hurting monkey. And this hurting monkey is appreciative. It's a better place to be, I tell you that. And if you are a person who has left me a comment, thumbs up and thank you. I read as many as YouTube will show me. I thumbs up as many as YouTube will allow. I answer as many as my nerve compression will let me, which is not as many as I would like, but I do my best. Everybody, you are all beautiful and awesome people. Even if you don't leave a comment, even if you're not a Patreon patron, you are all beautiful and awesome. Thumbs up and thank you. And at 23 minutes in, I'm really going to call this one. So I am going to edit, render, upload, charge this thing, because it's probably around 30% if I'm lucky, and just take care of myself. I tried to pay my internet bill today, but Visa is having back-end problems, and it's not just affecting me here. I talked to my sister in Utah. They were having problems with Visa stuff, so it could be a nationwide thing. I don't know. So I gotta wait. Luckily, today is not the last day, but thumbs up for that. Anyway, now, hopefully you can get done the things that you need to get done, and if not, please don't beat yourself up. You deserve better, so thumbs up. Be good to yourself. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And that is indeed a very, very good thing. I don't know how many people watch to the very end. I know it's not many. And I'm not saying that it's just a me thing. Again, this is a big YouTube thing. The very moment... Sometimes the video doesn't even have to start before people click off. So it just starts an immediate nosedive on the number of people that watch on absolutely everyone. So if you've made it here, thumbs up. Thank you. Have a great day. I will see you.